All right, welcome everybody. This is 100 TV Live, really a pre-launch 100 TV, and we are doing our business meetings live, and this is actually the first business meeting of the Monetization Committee. And I'll just go around, everybody introduce yourself, and if you want to talk about the name of your show or what you're going to be doing on 100 TV, that'd be awesome, and then we'll get into some business. So I'm Ross Brand. My show's 100 Predictions, and it's about trends in digital media. Unmute everybody.
There we go. Hello.
Hey.
One
How
moment,
are you?
please. Hi, I am Jennie Mustafa Julak, but that's ridiculous. So everybody calls me Coach Jennie, and I'm one of the new members of the 100 TV. I'm super excited to be here, and my show is going to be Monday Morning Moxie for former members of my community. You know what that's about, and I'm really excited to retool that concept and bring it to exclusively to 100 TV. It's going to be great.
Very cool. Rebecca?
Awesome. Jennie, are you in an RV?
I am. I live full time in my Airstream, currently streaming live with my puppy in the background from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Oh, how cool is that?
Wow. Looks
That's
nice
awesome.
there.
You already have the best studio in the set.
Yeah, it moves. It'll be different every time. Who knows what trailer will be back there.
That is awesome. I'm so for your RV life. I can't wait to hear more about it. Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Gunter. My show is Business in the Raw. It is entrepreneurial activism and advice. I'm also new to the group, but Ross and I have known each other for a very long time, and I'm enthusiastic about our partnership and exploring the creative places this takes me.
Well, one of the things I love about what both of you are doing is it's kind of like what we're doing here. Both of your shows have a real sort of pull back the curtain, let you people see behind the scenes of what you actually do in your day job, so to speak. So it's kind of fun, I think, to be doing this. We're going to have our all network meeting at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, 9:15 a.m. Pacific. But for now, let's talk a little bit about the Monetization Committee. And just to give people a little background, we had started out with the idea that everyone would bring a sponsor. If you're a creative partner, meaning if you are hosting a show and sharing in the revenue for 100 TV, you would bring a sponsor to the table. We decided to push that back a little bit to give time to launch, and then eventually decided that there would be a monetization committee and we would take more of an inbound and one-on-one approach. So if you know somebody, maybe you reach out to somebody, but we provide an inbound option. With that having been said, what do you guys think of is a good framework for monetization? What do we want to do? When do we want to do it? Very general, but
small
to
questions.
Start. Yeah,
tiny little questions.
I've had a minute to think about it, Coach Jennie, so I don't want to step over you in any kind of way.
It's impossible to do that. Please dive in.
I want to explain my position, maybe talking about two different storytelling opportunities. The first one is around the internet. When the internet was invented by Al Gore, right? We all decided, we had a big cultural discussion, and we all decided that the internet should be free. And now we pay for it with a pound of blood every single day with advertising, bots, product placement. We can't get away from advertising if we want to. So I just want to kind of come to us with that cautionary tale that if we decide that everything is free, we will pay for it in a pound of flesh, or whatever that is, whatever the analogy is. So I want to right off the break be thinking about monetization as not kind of an evil sidekick to any sort of enterprise, but maybe embrace the balance of having some sort of money inflow into something that is a creative platform. So essentially, that's how I'm coming to the table with the idea that like let's not try and make this free and then pay for it in really hard ways later. I really am coming to the committee meeting today with the idea of wondering whether or not an individual show can seek an individual sponsor for their individual show, and then maybe have some sort of sharing along with the mothership. Or is it that we are pooling tips? And pooling tips in restaurants mean that everybody who's working, whatever tips you get, go in a big pile and we divide it evenly throughout the end of the day. And as a restaurant person, that always had that has some flaws to it. So if we're pooling tips, that's one thing. And those are the things I'm curious about and coming to the table with today.
Well, I'll just throw in a little bit of background here. And again, the idea of the revenue share was that everybody would bring a sponsor and the committee would set a price. So we're all selling at the same price. So essentially you keep what you sell, but the collective raises the value for everybody because the sponsorship would have access across all the shows, a lot more than just one show. There would be other placement. So now that we're not having an individual mandate that you have to go out and bring a sponsor, how then do we do this? I was still operating under the even split idea, but your idea is interesting as well. Do you have more of a thought about how that would work, though?
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm coming to you as like some sort of sponsor guru by any stretch of the imagination. This is not my wheelhouse, other than the fact that I've created marketing campaigns to support people getting sponsorships, or done the like end work of the sponsorship where I'm branding the two of them together. So let's just say that. I guess what I'm thinking is I'm thinking for my own show, just as an example, for my own show. And I'm like, boy, I would really love to have that professionally produced. I would love to bring some partners in there so that it had like some real watchability with the people that are in my network. But am I going to foot the bill for the investment of that, like the first year, and then hope sponsorship comes in? Could I get a sponsor for my individual show and then share some of that so that there is, I want the community, I want the sharedness of it. But I also want empowerment for the folks who are really into it, to be able to take the ball and run with it. So that's why I'm bringing these ideas to the table. I don't have an agenda how it happens. I'm here to work with the group.
Sounds great. Jim, welcome. Jim Fuhs. Tell everybody, Jim, what your show is and what it's about.
My show is going to be called the Digital Frontier Show, and it's going to be talking about not only marketing, but tech and how things, maybe that, like right now people are talking about Chat GPT, but then you look at programs like we're using here, like StreamYard, where they're rolling out custom layouts. I just finished my show earlier, and because I'm in the beta program, I'm already able to use that and guest destination. So people don't know a lot of these things exist out there. And I was on Big View's show yesterday, and we were talking about some of the things coming out. They have their teleprompting software. It's using AI. So I'm going to be doing things like that, interviewing companies and people that are doing things as we got to think about the future. And, can't always have resistance to change because it's going to change whether you like it or not.
Exactly. That's really a big reason why we're doing this, because the whole landscape is changing. Coach Jennie, any thoughts either on what Rebecca had to say or just in general?
Ross has known me for more than a couple of minutes. He knows I have thoughts. Of course I have thoughts. Rebecca, I love what you're bringing to this conversation. I think it's such an important thing. We have so many questions to really sit with and start to deal with. One of the questions I have is, how can we monetize this in a way that we feel like, if we're not asking for business, this shit is just a hobby. Let's be real. So let's ask for some business. Let's ask for some money. Let's find ways to grow it and make it a really profitable undertaking for all of us as quickly as possible. without burnout and killing ourselves? And then what are the different streams of revenue that we could be looking at? I mean, if we're going to be putting this on YouTube, how can we make sure that the monetization committee is working really closely with the folks who are doing the YouTube techie infrastructure, whatever the hell those people are called, like making sure that we're thinking about that so we can get the ad revenue from YouTube, and making sure that we are following whatever rules we need to know. And clearly this stuff is above my head, but following those rules so we can also be tapping into that. But Rebecca, to your question about individual shows, I think if an individual show can hustle up some in-kind donations to help with their production and stuff like that, I don't think that needs to be shared. You know what I mean? But if we're doing sponsorships for the actual network, I think that's going to be an easier sell to sponsors, I would imagine, to say you're sponsoring the entire network. So I'm really excited about all of those different kinds of options. And then I'm sure down the road, there'll be even more. My burning question is, how quickly do we want to start pitching sponsors? Do we want to wait until we've had a few months and we have something to point to that they can see and touch and feel? Or do we want to be getting this ball rolling in March and April before we launch? That's kind of my burning question right now.
I think that's a really good question. I don't know that there's a perfect answer, right? It's kind of like it depends, because when you can show a company like, hey, here's the people that are having shows, and we all have a track record, right? But it still doesn't mean that they're going to say, well, how do you know this is going to work? So that's where them as like, great, yeah, these are all great people, but until we like see what's coming out of this, we're going to wait, right? So you may get some of these but then you may get some like, yeah, we want to be in there at the beginning. So
right,
I don't know. What are your thoughts,
answer.
Rebecca? Yeah.
I think that a pre-launch is like almost fundamental to any, whether it's the effort is kind of a quiet, soft pre-launch. I think that marketing within our network towards sponsorship gains is just as important as marketing to our own audience, to talking about 100 TV as a whole. So I would, if it were me, and this is my project, which it is in a small way, I would be thinking about pre-launch for sponsorships right now, just like I would for any other audience that I was trying to drum up eyeballs and attention and action.
Excellent. I'm on board. My gut said that was the answer, but I didn't really know if that was the answer. I mean, like, why wouldn't we ask? The other thing I wanted to throw into the room, because this happened before I joined, the idea of everybody going and getting an equal dollar sponsor sounded nice until I thought about it a little bit, because I feel like you would have to cap it lower to make it attainable for people than if we just shoot for the moon, right? And so now, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, Coach Jennie, but I think you're absolutely nailing human nature. It's just human nature that they're going to be people who are really rocking their sponsorships and people who are not, people who are taking their show like, as a very serious opportunity. People are kind of doing it as a hobby. You're going to be all over the map, which is why I kind of brought up pulling tips earlier, that I do think that you won't have an equal participation across the line with this many people, no matter where they are in their career, who they are with integrity. It's just, everybody's going to be different.
Participation taking out of that piece, which I totally agree with you, but also everybody's got a different network. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend I have Ross Brand's network, right? Like, Ross Brand can make phone calls I can't make. Let's be real. And so he's going to be able to make, and if we make those phone calls and really pitch them to say, this is how you could be, I'm pulling this out of my tush, a platinum sponsor. I would hate for like a StreamYard, if you're listening, to not be able to pay us a little bit more. I'm going to mute because my puppy's upstaging me.
No, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, I think this comment here that creators aren't salespeople and they don't have sponsor contacts, very true. I don't have sponsor contacts, but one thing I can do is start putting together packages and we can float them out there. And if we don't have anything now, we can't iterate at launch. So I'd rather get something out there form, some package ideas or some sponsorship packages and get it out there, listen to feedback and iterate rather than starting on May 1st and being like, whoop.
See, I like this comment by Rick. Rick is also a creative partner, and he says it takes someone who knows how to pitch potential advertisers to go out and canvas them. Now, one thing I was hoping with the network is we would tap into everybody's skills. So some of us have contacts, some of us are graphic whizzes with PowerPoint or Canva or what. Like, I think combined we have a lot of skills that we could collectively put into this, and then it sort of becomes a tough thing to say, well, who's... Just because somebody closes the deal doesn't mean they are the reason for the deal, right? Like, there are many steps along the way, including all of the talent and shows that enable us to sell. We're going to move into the main meeting, but last thought on this, and then we'll continue this on another conversation.
I think we could outsource that person. I think we could all put our talents to the table and then find that canvasser, that specialist, and use the sponsorship dollars to fund that so they can get way more than we could ever do on a collective level. That's my opinion.
Coach Jennie, final thought on monetization?
I think Rebecca's brilliant, and I'm glad I'm on a committee with her. That's my final thought.
That's awesome. Jim, any final thought on that?
No, I think what they're talking about makes sense, and I guess it's we just got to go out and do it.
Sounds good. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to transition into the main meeting, and in the private chat, just in case you don't have it, there's a link to the agenda. You can click that and pull the agenda up.
You have to PDF. Put it out there again. It's kind of like
Zoom. That's right. It doesn't show for everybody who isn't here yet. Okay, let me copy. Thank you, Jim. I forgot about that. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
Okay, so now the agenda is there, and I just want to start by welcoming Coach Jennie and also Nicole Sanchez. Both are brand new creative partners since our meeting last week, and we are thrilled to have them. I know we did intros before, but let's go around the room again. Everybody say your name, the title of your show, and one line about what your show is. I'll start Ross Brand. My show's 100 Predictions, and it's about trends in digital media. Coach Jennie?
I'm Jennie Mustafa Julak. Everybody calls me Coach Jennie. My show is Monday Morning Moxie, and it is a show to get you some productivity ideas and tips that you can challenge yourself for 1 week and practice and test so that you can see whether or not that's something you want to adopt forever.
Nice. Rebecca?
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Gunter. My show is Business in the Raw. It's entrepreneurial activism, and you'll get a fly on the wall longer term. That's a multi-episode arc following the journey of an entrepreneur to step into a bold and brave brand.
Very cool. Bridgetti?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bridgetti Lim Banda from Be Live Media, and my show is called Books with Bridgetti. And I pull back the curtain on authors.
It's nice. I like all these pull back the curtain, behind the scenes things. It's really what live streaming is so great at. Sue Ann?
I'm going to attempt the marketing mirror, and it's because everything you do reflects your business and brand.
Nice. Jim?
I'm Jim Fuhs, Fusion Marketing, and it's going to be the Digital Frontier Show, where I'm going to be talking about the marketing and tech space and how it's evolving with new things rolling out.
Cool. All right, let's get to some ongoing business, and we're going to have hopefully by tonight a form for everybody to fill in exactly what their show title's going to be, a couple of line description that we can use, and then your social accounts so you can be tagged, and an approximate total for each social account because we need that when we're pitching to guests and sponsors about the total reach of our group. So that'll be probably available tonight. And if everybody could do that before next week's meeting, say by Tuesday night, make sure you get that in.
Could we get their website link too, just in case for the blog or whatever? Sometimes maybe.
Sure. I can put a link for that in.
For each person.
Absolutely. All right, so we're divided up. Number 2 is committees. We're divided up into 5 categories so far, with each creative partner joining at least one committee. The committees that we came up with are branding, videos, which is like promo and social videos.
I keep calling them production.
Yeah.
Video production.
Website and email, YouTube channel, and monetization. Is everybody on a committee so far?
I'm not on a committee, but I have a question where I
Sure.
guess I'm seeing a hole, or I'm not sure where it fits. And that was kind of my interest. Is we talk about this videos, promos, and so, but what about actual social media? Like, I was curious about, like, I had mentioned before launching a LinkedIn company page for the brand. That's going to be more about, like, because we can actually follow these brands and companies that we want to connect with as 100 TV network and interact with them as
Smart.
that on, so I don't really see where that fit into the current committees. That's what I was kind of interested in, because it's not just all video, and that's and I didn't think that was website and email either.
Let's do a social media committee.
We did talk a little bit about it because Ross, we were talking about, will somebody eventually take over social, because Ross right now kind of is adminning all the channels. But I loved your idea about having a LinkedIn page. And I was really shocked and excited that everyone could actually admin and participate in that page, which makes it all the more robust.
Mm-hmm.
And we can then all add it to our experience on
Correct.
on LinkedIn, so people can see the logo and they can see that we're
And if we get enough followers, we can actually then start to do like LinkedIn audio on there as well, where we could have conversations like this, but just do it as audio only.
It'd be very cool. So you wanna take that and
Sure.
Lead the LinkedIn. Woo, Jim.
Well, whatever it is, I don't know.
so do you want to call it the
Social
social media?
Yeah, we could do that. And I think if you've already created some of the other platforms, I guess it's just a matter of adding some of us. Like if it's Twitter, it's probably just getting like the password, so more than one person can tweet, things like that.
Yeah, I can send you all that stuff, and we don't have any Facebook presence yet. We have a Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube.
And if you actually,
So
I think
Facebook
Ross,
and LinkedIn
too,
are the 2 big ones we're missing.
if we create the Facebook and with the whole business thing, you could then connect the Instagram together, and then if you make us admins, we can all just manage it through the
Very
the
cool.
Meta business thing. I think
Super cool.
I hate
Yeah.
it, but I think that's what it does.
Cool. Let's do that. Great
We don't know how to
suggestion.
work it, but it's there.
Right.
Coach Jennie?
So I am on the monetization committee, obviously, and I'm excited to continue with that. But another hole that I see, I love that Jim brought up a hole there, is for lack of a better word, a talent committee. As a longtime collaborator, it's very easy to get into the nuts and bolts of the production and all of that without like making sure we're building policies and plans for like how we manage the humans. And so, I would love to throw my hat in the ring for helping form some sort of talent committee. I'm just going to say the stuff you're not supposed to say. Like in my experience, very often feelings become part of how we make decisions instead of policies. So I would love to build policies before feelings, before anything happens, so that we know, like, if
Forget
somebody
it.
decides
I'm
to
out.
leave,
I'm just too emotional.
no, like
I'm kidding.
Joanne, if somebody decides to leave, when do they stop getting money? When do we keep their videos? Like all those decisions need to be made. And I think that I'm sure there's a ton of other decisions that I don't have at the top of my head, but in my opinion, that's another thing to do sooner than later.
I like it.
As well as bringing new
Very-
people. We
very
want a lot
smart.
more people. Yeah.
Bridgetti?
Recruitment will be huge. Agreed.
Mhm.
Speaking of talent, something I think that we need to talk about is whether or not we require all of our creators to have a media release for their guests to appear on 100 TV. Just so that we don't have any issues moving forward. I've always had one, sort of no media release, no appearing on my shows. And I think it's important that we cover ourselves as a network so we don't have any issues in future.
Everybody agree?
Brilliant.
Disagree?
Yeah,
I think we
100%.
should.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
know.
Big
I know
time.
when we do Dealcasters, part of what and it's not necessarily like a contract, but we do things of that nature where we're telling the guests, like, you don't have any rights to the content, that sort of thing. So that probably makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, I think anything that can protect us and protect the guest and like Jennie says, if it's a policy, then the feelings go out of it, and it's just, this is what the policy says. This is our
Yes.
policy. You sign this, you come on our show, you don't.
Well, and I think that it also lifts a lot of the burden off of all of us individually. If we just, like, this is how we do things. I don't have to make all of these decisions. I don't have to ask all of these questions. I think this will be, like a working evolution. Pardon Sadie, who is just totally upstaging me today.
So
But
cute.
that's Airstream life right there. But yeah, I think making sure that we build kind of some of those decisions, or have a body, have a committee that's tasked with making those decisions, so that individual creators can be focused on making really great content. You know
The
what I
more
mean? As well as
structured and systemed we are, I think the better for everybody. I think that,
Yeah.
like, I think we need some, some structure, some definition, because then, like you said, it can flow so much easier. I've been thinking the same thing, but I never thought of it as the talent committee part. And I think Brigitte had a really great idea too about, does someone have a standard document for guests that we should all use, like that they can throw in the pot for everybody to use? Or
I'm
Yeah.
happy to contribute mine.
Okay, I have access to one as well, and I can send that over. I actually haven't used it, but I should, and probably will now.
And I'm throwing this out there. Beauty Bubble is saying in the chat, legal, policy, and talent committee. I don't know that would be one committee, right? Like, legal is a little different than talent management, in my opinion. So I could definitely put my talents in the talent committee. I can't put my talents in the legal committee. I got nothing.
I just connected with someone. I was on a show with him yesterday. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Eric Farber. He runs a company called Creators Legal. And so we've connected, and he's actually that's what he does. He creates contracts for creators. He's been, he's a lawyer. So I'm connecting with him and learning more about the platform. So you can subscribe to it. You can get your own contracts and that sort of thing. And I think that will make it easier than us all trying to, like, figure it out ourselves.
Does he happen
I
to
think that's
do
important.
shows?
He definitely. I'm going to be on his
for the
podcast.
channel too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we should all really work from one, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Like, anybody knows
Am I
an
watching
attorney
that?
who also happens to be a good live streamer, we could kill two birds with one stone.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean,
Bridgetti
I
does?
mean, I know. I don't know if he would be interested, but another person that we could maybe talk to is Mitch Jackson.
Yeah,
I know he's doing
Mitch
a lot
Mitch
in the
has
metaverse.
been on my shows a couple of times, and he's signed my media release, and he always compliments me on the fact that I have one. And so he's read mine, and he's not had any objection to it. And I've had one or two other lawyers as well, and they've not had an objection to my media release.
Yeah. So that's always an idea. We could have a lawyer on one of our leading a legal committee or whatever. But between all of us, I think we've all got probably pretty good releases or sources to download one that we could use. So anything else on the committees before we move on?
I have clarifying question?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Because Sue Ann mentioned that she was calling the videos promo and social production, but I had it in my head that the YouTube channel was the production. I'm not clear about what. Can you define the differences in those committees? Like who's in charge of?
With YouTube,
that?
we were kind of calling that person like the traffic manager, or the what did DJ call that person? The channel engineer or something like that. It's sort of an administrator. If we get a system in place, Coach Jennie, everybody will turn in like their set things on the system. Like it's, your show description, your links for your guests, the set, it'll be a set like 1, 2, 3 to make it easy on everybody. And eventually we're hoping, instead of each individually having to upload, we're hoping to have like a channel director or distribution, YouTube distribution manager or YouTube director or something like that, to kind of get that system, that process, where video or production, or I call it production, Ross calls it video. I think of that as the guys that are creating like promotional videos and bumpers and that sort of thing.
I see. And then that would also work with Jim's committee for social media, putting it out there. I see. Okay, now I'm
and
understanding.
All of us should be doing social individually as well, of course.
Oh, absolutely. But it would be so wonderful, as we're talking
If
about
we
this,
had
how many ways can we
assets.
streamline things? So if there is a social media committee that's writing a bunch of blurbs for the channel, each of us don't have to write a lot of blurbs for the, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many ways can we make our lives a little easier so we can be a lot louder? That's what I think is important.
Another part of the YouTube channel committee would be staying on top of the rules and the policies and the community guidelines to make sure we're not publishing anything we shouldn't.
I think Kevin knows everything about that stuff too. We should tap him if we can.
Okay.
What do you think, Jim? Don't you think? Because you're also probably good at that.
So Kevin is not. Kevin
he
wanted separate direction. So.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't notice he was scratched. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so number 3 is the contract update. We talked about having a contract that all of us would sign individually with 100 TV. And Rick talked about reaching out to a lawyer for helping drafting a contract. He uploaded a contract and I've downloaded it. I think we should all scan it and give it a review and see what we think, if we're comfortable with it. And then maybe next week when we meet, come back with any sort of input, or maybe we need to go faster than that. I'll just open up really quick if anybody's looked at it or has any thoughts on that. All right, so we will take a look at it.
I didn't get to read it yet.
Okay, let's take a look at it. By next week, we'll have some idea on where we are. We'll put a post about it in the Facebook group, and people can comment as they read it if they have concerns or questions or things that need to be added, or if you're good with it, and then that'll give us an idea of where to go from when we convene next week. All right, next thing.
Go
ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if it's on the agenda. I was just going to throw in real quick. I'm going to be talking to Daniel and working with him with the website and blog.
Sue Ann. And our next item on the agenda is an update on the website and email committee, which is Sue Ann and Daniel.
I don't see very well, guys.
I know. Okay, so here you go. I just wanted to give you a proper introduction for you.
No, actually, I think I'm going to have to rewrite my introductory blog post because things have evolved and we weren't quite ready. But I think I'm going to be meeting with Daniel and later, and all that stuff that Ross is collecting in terms of social media handles and stuff like that we'll need for the website too, with your individual pages. We want to keep it, Ross suggested, and I think we agree. I'll talk more about it with Dan, but we wanted to keep it kind of like uniform. So nobody should be writing like a book and a half bio, or, you know what I mean? We want to keep it like, a certain standard across all creators so that it doesn't look like, I don't know, we want to even the playing field, so to speak, right? Yeah, and make it look consistent and that kind of thing, have a style to it. So there may be some, I guess, restrictions or requirements around that. Like in the book, sometimes, Ross, we've had people with like 2 pages of bio after their one line of advice, and that's a rough one to work with. So we thought for the website we should just keep it so it's pretty consistent. And I think I am going to have to redo the first post because of like where we're starting out of the gate as opposed to where we were when I first started writing it. So it's going to need adjusted, but I have a second one and a third one already rolling because I'd like us to open with at least 3 posts, somewhere for people to go. I'd like to have all the bios in order also. Hey, Joey. And we need messaging from this young lady because I think that the brand messaging and that stuff is going to also be key to carry over to web and web copy, that sort of thing.
Excellent. I was going to mention that I'll add a bio point to that form.
Spreadsheet.
To that form about the Rebecca. I don't know if you know, as a copywriter, what would be a good word limit for a bio that would get like the essentials in and a little more, but not too long, so that everybody's just kind of, 3 sentences or something. I don't know. But if I could set a word limit, should I
100.
set 100 words?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
What about also a word limit for the show description? And if I agree with Sue Ann, if you want it to be consistent, just give us those numbers and we all, play along and color inside the lines. No,
there is just nothing more on brand to me for 100 TV than the number 100.
Hey, girl, I like it.
There we go.
100 words for everything. I think
Words or letters?
I mean, it's words.
Words.
Character, yeah, words. That's still a full paragraph. It's still 3 or 4 sentences. Who are your people? What do they need? What is this show? What does it deliver? And why do we care?
Joey, welcome. Just tell us the name of your show and what it's about.
Sure. It's called The Red Carpet Guide to Visibility Influence, and it's all about like getting more visibility and influence out there in the marketplace, whether it's your personal brand, your professional brand, your biz, your shows.
Rick mentioned as a first-time visitor, he was pretty confused by it. I assume he's talking about the website, and the website hasn't launched yet.
No.
It just was to give you an idea of that we have a website. So it's just really in the agenda so that you would see that we have a website. We've played around a little bit with it and we have a theme and such, but we're nowhere ready to launch it. So that's why not all the content made sense.
Once I catch up with Daniel, we'll be like really on the ball with it.
How's April 1st to be able to launch it? Is that realistic, or do you have a...
Let me talk to him. I don't want to speak for the committee.
Okay.
I would just rather we do March, the last day of March or the 2nd of April, because April 1st.
Oh, yeah. It's very smart, Jim. I saw your head go down. I'm like, oh, he got me. All right, so let's move on to the branding committee update. That's Joey, Jeff, and Bridgetti, and Joey and Bridgetti are here. And last week, Jeff reported that they were in the final designs and decisions on visuals like logos, and Joey was working on a brand style book. So, Joey, you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So the brand style book is ready, right? We've decided on the hero logo is the black or the white. People can pick whatever they think is going to look best. The only criteria is that we just want to make sure that everyone's show marketing image and show cover, you can make it look any way you want. It's like it's your show, it's your brand. That you just take one of the hero logos and you make sure that it's down in the right hand corner. And that's how we'll thread all the shows together, right? So whether you're marketing on your own, yes.
Joey, somebody pointed out that the bottom right-hand corner is a bad space because of the YouTube bottom thirds, and it should maybe be a top corner rather than a bottom, so
Okay.
that it doesn't get blocked out.
Sure, we
The
can
timestamp is there, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can move it over to the bottom hand left corner then.
Bottom left.
Yeah, I think your eye feels better on the bottom than on the top. And a lot of people are going to be using their show titles up on top, which would, right? So you don't want that to really fight with one another in terms of the branding. But so we could we'll move it over to the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, because someone brought that to our attention earlier on, that's a problem spot maybe.
Okay, cool. So that's an easy fix. The other thing too is in terms of the brand story pitch. I call them a kit. It's a pitch. What we're working on, we're not working on the content creators gig, right? Ross has already sent out a letter. Everyone should know what this is about already. The purpose around the branding style book is that we want the marketplace to know what this is and what's in it for them and why they should care, right? And so we have put together, a paragraph. People can, again, everyone is professionals here. People can take a line from it. They could take 2 lines. They could use the entire paragraph, however they want, however you guys want to use it. At the essence of the heartbeat of the brand itself, it's basically that this is a destination for indie shows by the go-to indie creators. We feel really strongly that we want to be projecting that out in the marketplace. That is our niche. That's our spotlight that we're standing in. That's what sets us apart from necessarily other networks out there, right?
That all creators, is that how do you remember you guys said it before? So like 100 all creator. How did you say that?
Well, Jeffrey said it's 100 creators, but that again, okay, this branding, right, share isn't about getting content creators excited about content creators, right? Because everyone's already done that. Like, this is for the marketplace. This is like literally for the marketplace to know what we're doing, right?
Absolutely.
And standing on our own platform, right? There are other networks out there already, right? They might not be going live with their business meetings, but we know there's other networks that people already put together, right? And so the differentiation isn't that we're more content creators on top of content creators, right? It's that we're indie content creators, right? That we're pushing the envelope, we're in front of the game. And I would be so brave or courageous to say, because I know a lot of the content creators already, that a majority of the content creators in this have been in the game for a long time, maybe as back as 2012. That's a long time to be in this game, right? So the idea around the share is that the programming is for people that like unique stream shows. Like, this isn't commercial. We're not trying to be TV. None of us want to be traditional TV. I don't. I used to work in traditional TV, right? So that that people will come to this because they're looking for unique, right? And that the network has the most exciting indie content creators and early predictors of stream trends and networking destination for other indie creators and other talent looking to break into the indie stream business, right? It's a forum for discussing groundbreaking technology that affects stream media, a place to spot breakout stream talent. And that I feel is buzzworthy. That if you want to find like we're like, the only other way I can explain it in a weird way is like, we're like Slam Dance, but like today. You know, You remember when Slam Dance came out and everyone was like, what, Slam Dance, blah, 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 right?
I still don't know what it is, but that's okay.
You do too, Jim. You've probably been there. So it was basically like, there was a time where indie creators had nowhere, they didn't have a voice, right? It was Hollywood or nothing, right? And then something extraordinary happened. It was called this thing called Sundance, right? And this very generous influencer gave indie creators a platform. It was just like, I want you guys to be seen and heard. Why is it has to be commercial? It can't be Arnold Schwarzenegger 24 hours a day, right? We have other voices out there, right? And then something happened. There was this thing that was birthed called Slam Dance. And Slam Dance was really kind of looked at like, who cares at the time, right? But what it did is that it gave indie creators, because Sundance started becoming very commercial after a while, right? And it gave indie creators another platform and said, we want you to be seen and heard, right? And so all of a sudden, this little indie over here became a major player because there was a breakout movie that happened, right? And the Blair Witch Project, right? And whether you guys like the Blair Witch Project or not, I personally love it. It changed movie history on its own, and it made this indie platform over here go, oh, maybe we should be looking for these little breakout gems. Yes. And so what the download around 100 TV, right, is that we're Slam Dance, right? That there's a breakout show in here, right? That could change the whole landscape out there right now, right? Where people are going to be looking for the gem. And what the audience that we're attracting are people that we love, right? Because we like people that are we like visionaries. Like we like people that are trying new things and new technology and all that. That's why we're in this game, right? Is that we're attracting people out there that are that find that very attractive. That we're not TV and we don't want to be TV. Right? So that's the idea. That's the pitch. Yes? Yes. And one other thing too, you all. This is just my hope, right? For all of us, not just in the 100 TV, but anyone that has been pouring our time and energy and love and spirit into what we've been doing, right? For more than a minute now, is that we are changing the landscape out there so that when there is these festival components, right? Because Podfest and all this is just a festival, in my opinion, right? It's a festival. That's what I call it. Is that now people out there are like starting to show up to this or to 100 TV, for instance, because they're looking for the diamond in the rough that's going to change the landscape out there, right? And then, sign them, give them a contract, right? And that all of a sudden elevates not just 100 TV's network, it will elevate anyone else's network out there, because then people will be like, well, if we found that there, then we should be looking at that everywhere. Yes? Does that make sense?
I think so. What I'm hearing you say is like, if we're the Sundance of network live streaming, then Tribeca Film Festival is going to come and try to copy us. That's what I'm hearing from you. It's something like that,
Yes, sister. Yes. Coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coach Jennie. Yeah.
Coach Jennie. Okay. Yes, sister. Exactly. This is why as each talent, because I call you all talent. Okay. I call myself talent. Okay. As each talent comes on board, we don't want to fuss with their brand too much. We just need there to be an indicator that they're part of 100 TV. We need that, because if we don't do that, then all of a sudden the marketplace, they can't connect the dots. Yes. So we're not, as a branding, we're not going to tell people how to create their show covers. That's not our job, right? We're not going to tell people. We want people to be super interesting and super unique and super out there, right? And just blasting their own drum, right? The only differentiation is we do need that one logo piece. We do need that. Okay. The other differentiation too is we want to be creating a mission and a culture in 100 TV where people are proud to wear that I am an indie creator. I am very unique, right? And be blasting that out in the marketplace so other indie creators are like, oh, I can come here and I can be with other indie creators. We're like, yes. Oh, I want to be an indie creator. I can come to 100 TV and I can be learning in these forums, right? From like Jim, this technology, or Bridgetti, how she's now, I'm digging your commercials, by the way, sister. How she's now with, doing her Amazon gig, or Sue Ann. Sue Ann has a very unique way that she shares in the marketplace, her writing, you can see, right? So 100 TV, we want to be cultivating that culture, right? And we don't want to tell people what to do, right? Because we want Blair Witch, guys. This entire landscape of live stream, we need it. We need the breakout.
Well, you're in luck because I'm working on something really weird.
Well, and Sue, and that's what we love about you, right? Right? Because ultimately, we want the players to start showing up to these other events. We want them to come to 100 TV, and we want them to be like, well, you know what? We'll take them all because someone's going to break out at some point, right? Yes. So let's in the branding, and as you all are talking to each other, let's be cultivating this culture first. Mm-hmm.
I'm digging it. Ross, does this match your vision for what you had proposed in the beginning? I want to just be on the same page with you too. You're muted, but you sound great. One moment, please.
Yeah, we're all pros here.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, I thought the selling point to advertisers would be that we're a group of independent creators who are forming a network. So instead of reaching Jim over here and Rebecca over there, and maybe I get Joey over there or whatever, and how many budgets do I need to have, and how many, we're giving them one place to come and go, okay, you can get in front of all of our viewers who are often people who are like-minded and indie creators themselves. So I think there's a market of people who are trying to sell to people like us from an advertising standpoint. So I think the indie part is very much in line with the way I saw our appeal in terms of monetization through sponsorships. Now, where Joey has taken it, I think, that I'm really liking is that I think from a PR angle, in terms of getting earned media and in terms of getting the larger industry to notice us, the idea that there's a breakout star here, that this is maybe the kind of first time that it's owned and operated, so to speak, by this group of creators. So that's the other piece that I think she brought into it that I hadn't been thinking as much. I was thinking the story is what we're doing because not that many people are doing it. But yeah. I do think the idea that this is a place to come and find that breakout star or see what the next group of reality performers or live streamers or podcasters are going to be doing is a whole other angle for getting attention from media and social and industry who aren't necessarily going to advertise on our content, but can tell the story that makes us more attractive to advertisers and also individually lifts us. So I think there's gold in there. I really do.
Well, and there are just two reactions to this. I love it. I mean, one, I feel like a cooler person because now I've never thought of myself as like an indie creator, and I'm totally wearing that badge from now on. I'm an indie creator, babies. I'm loving that. I think it's really juicy and different, and I love that piece. But it also feels like this kind of answers one of the questions I've heard on some of your past meetings before I joined, which is who's the target audience for this? Well, the target audience for this is somebody who wants to support indie creators and wants to see something new and fresh. And so, you know, the way I was kind of thinking about it, I like Joey's examples better, but the way I was thinking about it is kind of like Bravo TV. I don't watch anything on Bravo TV except Top Chef. I watch my Top Chef, right? Like, so I like that one show on there, and a lot of the other stuff isn't for me, but I still have a positive association with Bravo because they bring me Top Chef. You know what I mean? So I had that kind of in my mind, but I love this spin of like, this is really a place where indie creators are pooling their resources and finding a way to like really lift each other up.
Yes. And to your point too, it's also a place where we are cultivating, right? We're percolating with each other, right? Because I could see at some point there'll be crossovers. You know, there'll be crossover series with each other, right? Which then gives that by the way, I love Bravo, which gives it that Bravo spin, right?
Yes.
And then it starts making a lot of sense to those unique warriors out there who want to get into this game, right, but don't know how, or people out there that are they're just interesting people, right, who are just like, I can find more interesting on top of interesting in here. Yes. And then at some point, right, we might have, not to take this too far, but at some point we might have a real option to start doing spinoffs, right? Because then the brand evangelists out there, like you said, you love the Top Chef, which that's been on what, 12 years now? Crazy, right?
I don't know. Decades, I don't know.
I love Top Chef. Right. But what I like about you guys, about us talent, is that we are our own personalities. We wouldn't be in this game if we weren't quirky. We wouldn't be. I'm very quirky. I know that about me, right? And I'm proud of that quirkiness. But that's why we're in this game, is because we are quirky, right?
I like that idea that we probably, most of us, I'll speak for myself, don't fit anywhere, which is why we fit here. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's so good. I'm going to use that. Let's use that in our branding, you guys. It's like, we don't fit anywhere. That's why we're here. Yeah.
I said a playground for creators, but why don't we say a playground for quirky creators?
Yeah, we are. I was at PodFest in 2022. I knew like two people. One of them was Ross. And I was like sitting in these rooms, and I was like sitting next to people, and I'm like, we are so quirky. Like, that is why we're here. Like, we're probably, I'm not saying we were popular or not popular in high school. I don't really care. Right. But I think it's that spin about us is why we do what we do. Right. So I love that we don't fit anywhere. That's why we're here. Okay.
That's why we fit here. Yeah.
That's why we fit here. Okay. I'm going to
I talk about my members often in that way, you know, like we're the land of misfit toys, you know what I mean? And I dig that. I dig that vibe, especially when we're adding that perspective of indie, because it gives people, especially like you said, it'll give sponsors we're pitching a context to kind of see, okay, what is this thing? What are they trying to accomplish?
Well, the indie creator is also a big market out there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people through us that they can reach who are either doing this or aspiring to do this or think it would be cool to maybe one day do this, or just enjoying watching it, thinking about it, So there's a whole market full of people who, are either using these platforms or they're using this technology with their work, in their business, with their family. So there's a lot of people that we could potentially bring in through this angle. I mean, it's a much smaller market if you're going to sell to television professionals or, international movie stars or whatever. We're selling, we're sort of representing the average person's dream in a way.
Yeah, they don't get this anyways.
Real people. We're representing real people, real quirky people.
So that's the gig. That's where we're at. We have the style book ready, right? We'll just change it to the bottom left-hand side with the logo. We have the logos, the hero logos are ready, right? So everyone can start doing your gifts and your talents, right? And get your shows rocking and your covers and all that stuff. So we can get it to the website, guys, so we can start dropping them in.
I have just one question on the logo. Do we have the logo without the tagline that's written there? Because when it's small, it's impossible to read that, and I think it's distracting.
That's a really great point. So I'll ask Jeffrey to remove that altogether, right? And we could use that tag like memes and like things like "we don't fit anywhere, that is why we fit here," right? So the branding department will start putting together marketing campaigns like this kind of stuff, and then we'll give it to the other committees, which is like, I think we have like a designer committee and stuff like that, right?
I'm not sure we have that.
We need that. We need a graphic designer committee.
I thought that was the branding.
No.
Get Jeff. Jeff, where are you?
Jeffrey will probably do it. So I'll ask Jeffrey to do that. Okay, cool. So we'll change that in the style book today too.
I think it's good that you went with the black and white for everybody, because that could probably fit with everybody's shows better than trying to work a color like in there.
Yeah. Let's not.
I mean, we can still use the gold or,
like those are the hero logos. Okay. So let's stick with the hero logo, because that way any new person, it's not confusing and it's not overwhelming and stuff, and things are more threaded for them. That's what I feel.
Which is I'm sorry, can you repeat what the hero logo is again?
Yeah, sure. It's the white and black or the black and white.
But those are different from Jeff's logos.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No.
The black and white are ones that Kevin had done.
No.
I thought Jeff did black and white version of his design.
Yeah, but his design is in gold. His design is in gold, and then there's an alternative in red and blue.
Oh,
I
no,
love
no.
the red.
No. The gold one is for the website. Right? Because that's the one with all the the hero images and stuff like that we used on the banner.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then the black and white, the simpler ones, are the hero ones just for the cover.
But I think they're a different design. I think when I was,
Well, that's the design I like.
Okay, so we'll have to make a decision on which ones to make sure that they're all aligned with each other, whatever we go with.
Okay, cool. I sent it to him. He's had it since yesterday. He'll weigh in. But I want the simpler one for the show covers. Okay, I don't want the gold. I don't want any of that, right? Because then it gets all but for the website, what he did for your guys' Facebook page, I thought was very chic and cool. And then for your website, I think that you guys might like that gold better in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess do you have the fonts and stuff in there? Because that would tell us which is consistent with it.
These. I just grabbed them from the designers. Yeah.
We have a request from the crowd. Can we hear the mission again? Can you do a quick mission statement or?
Who's Beauty Bubble? That's such a great. That's such a name. That's very cool, by the way. Beauty Bubble. Okay. So, you mean this?
Awesome.
You mean the brand pitch?
The about, that's like the about.
Okay. So, 100 TV is a premier destination for indie shows by the go-to indie creators. The programming is for people who love unique stream shows. The network has the most exciting indie content creators, an early predictor of stream trends, a networking destination for other indie creators and other talent looking to break into the indie stream business. A forum for discussing groundbreaking technology that affects stream media, a place to spot breakout stream talent. So people can take, that's why we did this. People can take a good looks good. People can take a line of it. They could take 2 lines of it. They take the whole thing. They could take, we don't care. They could take a word. We don't care. Right? So that way everyone can just be their unique self. But Ross, on the website, we will want at least a sentence or 2 of this, right?
You got somebody vacuuming there? Or?
I was going to say it's a whale. Someone has a whale.
I have my housekeepers here. And I wasn't, and I don't want to reschedule them. You don't know how hard it is to get them. And I'm going to mute myself right now, but I don't see, where's the mute button on here, brother?
It's at the bottom.
Oh, there you go. But before I go, just have to jump, is I had Judy take it, and then she took like 1 sentence, and then she redid it, and she did 2 sentences, and then she redid it, and then she did the whole thing. She is so clever about the way how she did this. So we could put the recording into the Facebook group today, and that way people can hear it.
Oh, okay, Jodi.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jodi, yes. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Cool. Thank you. All right, we are just at about 1 o'clock. Any sort of any final thoughts before we wrap up from the panel? Any thoughts on what we just heard, or on any of the items we covered, real quick?
I was just curious if we could really dive into new business, because it looks like it's deadline driven. So if that's not the case, that's fair.
Oh, thank you. Somebody's actually reading the agenda. All right. So, shows. We got to have some deadlines for when we get the first 3 shows, because what we want to do with those first 3 shows is use them to pull off clips that we can use to promote the network, not only leading up to our launch, but during the first couple of weeks. So I was looking at a timeline kind of in my head and thinking April 14th for show number 1, April 21st for show number 2, April 28th for show number 3. So we try and be maybe going forward, try and be at least a week or 2 ahead in the future. But for the first 3 weeks, we're going to need to kind of figure out how we're going to line all this stuff up and who goes where. And we really need that content ahead of time.
Are we going to have intros that are brand or no?
I think it's best to do your show and then we add that on in the front end or the back end. The intro in the front end and whatever. Let's add that to the agenda for next week. But either way, you can do 28 minutes of show or 58 minutes of show, and you leave 30 seconds in the front to put your intro in, and maybe a minute at the end. So the 29th or the 30th minute or whatever can be a network promo that you don't have to put that stuff into your show in the beginning. Maybe you want to say, when you say your show title, you say, and, you're watching on 100 TV or, that kind of thing. Find it only on 100 TV. But I don't think we're going to have a lot of guidelines right now for how to do that. I think it's important to get the shows ready, and we can use in between shows or the end of the show, the beginning of the show, to drop in a 30-second kind of house ad, for 100 TV Network that way. Does that make sense, Jim?
Don't forget to do trailers. We want to have a playlist with everybody's trailers in case for the newer people, they didn't catch that note way back. So that might be something that you want to try to put together if you're interested. We're not making it a requirement. Like, you don't have to have a trailer in the playlist, but you'd be kind of silly not to be represented there. So that's probably something important.
Coach Jennie?
Why are we not making it a requirement? Why are we being so nice?
I don't know. That was the consensus early on in the. It has, unless something changed. Things change sometimes. So I must be asleep.
Oh no, I'm not asking.
Kevin missing.
I'm not questioning what the decision was. I'm questioning why that was the decision. If there's, if we want to,
I don't think anyone
have a bit of a launch.
Want to do one personally, but
how long should they
it helps
be?
you, and it helps the network, and it helps for sponsors. There were a lot of reasons. We thought we could make them in between promos to, showcase the different shows. We thought they could go to sponsors to be a playlist of here's the shows on the network. We thought it could be helpful for, the branding and introducing the audience to what's on the channel. We there was like 3 or 4 reasons that I initially brought up about why.
So let's just get really, really specific with this. How long should it be? What should be in, what needs to be in it, if anything, that
aren't
represents
most of
the
them
network?
like about 2 minutes ish? Again, I don't think we want to restrain or demand high or low numbers. If you're going to be creative and intro your show, we have to put an exact, because I'm like really scared about the trailer. I'm not a video girl like a lot of people. Like, I'm like nervous about making my trailer. But
I would say my guess would have been my guess would have been 30 seconds to a minute, because people don't spend a lot of time. I mean, now with
I guess I'm thinking of, I watched trailers to get ideas that I guess were like from like Netflix or movies or TV, and they always seem like they were like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but they're designed for a captive audience.
Intro.
We're competing with a swiping audience, and we want to be able to make these reels and TikToks and all sorts
kind of have
of
two
things.
We kind of have 2 things going on, though. We have, when you first come to a YouTube channel, you've got the one video that you can kind of plug for everyone to see.
Right. That
so
could be
I don't know if
longer.
that's something that's going to be more branded, where maybe it's you, whoever, talking about what the network's about. And so even if we're going to have a quote unquote playlist of trailers, one, people have to go to that. But I would also say that what we probably need, the trailers are great, but I almost think like maybe everyone should focus on doing a YouTube short specifically about their show, because that'll be a minute or less. Well, it has to be less than a minute, 59 seconds, I think, to be exact. But then that'll kind of populate better than where the trailer, it's going to be, it's like a YouTube video, and it's like, are people going to see it? So I think that may be a way to kind of look at that.
I think that's perfect. I actually think it's less work to do it that way than to do a trailer and then, I also have to do this short or nobody's going to see it. So this way the short can run. I mean, you can put it on a screen with a background and show it on a regular video in between shows or whatever, but getting it in all those algorithms is the way you want to do it, and getting it out there. I think that's brilliant. I think everybody should do
done is better than
I agree
short
with that.
about their show.
I agree.
And
All right.
what's our deadline for that?
Jim, give us a deadline. What's realistic?
Well, I almost wonder if the shorts will be more of a better promotional sort of, because I know you're talking like, we want to get everybody's initial show and do cuts from that. But I think that the shorts will provide some, if you want to call it, some excitement and build up. So maybe that goal should be to have the YouTube shorts done by the 14th. I mean, what does everybody think? You agree with that?
I still think we need some content. I think we need some shows ahead of time to to be able to set a lineup.
The shorts
and,
can be promo too, right? We can start using them for promotional leading up to the launch, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I have an appointment, guys.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up, and let's continue this conversation in the Facebook
Thanks,
group,
everyone.
guys. Okay, make public posts, not public for the world, but in the private Facebook group, make posts around conversations on these issues, so we have the discussion where everybody can participate, see it, and contribute. Okay.
Thanks,
Cool.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Rob.
everybody.
Thanks. All right. Take care.
Great seeing you.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Great to
Thank
see
you.
Thanks to everybody,
Bye.
Beauty Bubble and Rick and everybody who was contributing in the chat. We really appreciate it.